Welcome back
Hi.
to episode 11 or whatever we're on.
I believe you said this is going to be the replicating episode. As in, not we're going to post it 100 times. But
but I'm going to spend a whole
be...
episode replicating things. Yeah, I just learned to replicate, I think.
Well, this won't make a very good replicating if you haven't learned it
Here
yet.
we go. So, I think I'd like to go replicate stuff. And since that's kind of boring, you get a special treat.
Yay! I get to read
you
a
don't
cron.
get a special treat. You get to read.
I get to read a cron. The Chronicle, that is. We call them crons. Us insiders. You can be an insider too. For a limited time only. Until
you're
the
talking
board
to
goes down.
right? I want to go buy some.
So I guess this is a story based loosely, to some extent, on the game and events thereof that I actually wrote about 11 and a half years ago. Needless to say, I don't remember anything about it. So I guess it counts as a first for all of us.
But it is about the mages being exiled and Cythera kind of starting up Abydos or getting to that point.
Hopefully there aren't any spoilers. Okay, I guess I should start now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to buy some more gems before I start replicating them, so you can go ahead and start reading.
Late 151. The fear is growing. I sit in my Catamarca studio, drawing out plans for a new building to be built in Academia, the mother city. Oh, my iPad just turned off.
That's a problem.
A new building to be built in Academia, the mother city. It's to be a mint, so it has to be strong. Strong enough to resist the power of a rogue mage. Tap, 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 tap. Who could that be at this time of night? I open the door crack and peek through the opening. A young man is standing there, cloaked and hooded in a heavy cape with a rune at the lower hem. I let him in. Tavares sits rigidly on the cot near my work table, and I bring him a bowl of curdled goat's milk. He eats the curds hungrily as I return to my work. Several years ago, he was a promising student at the school I was teaching at in Academia. Then I encouraged his pursuit of magical building techniques, and in the aftermath of that, I was discharged and forced to move away from the mother city. Teacher? My old student still honors me thus. I smile. Yes, Cythera? Have you heard the news? I shake my head. It doesn't interfere with my blueprints, I hope. This mint is to be my greatest masterpiece. People will stare at it in awe 1,000 years hence and say, this great building was planned by some fellow named Philinius. He was a master among the master architects of his day. Cythera smiles and relaxes far enough to push back his hood. I sure hope it doesn't interfere with your masterpiece, but the tyrant has issued a proclamation banning mages from Academia, removing our lawful rights and giving us 90 days to clear out of eastern Cythera before he hunts us down. Being a prominent figure in Academia, I had to flee instantly, to avoid execution by lynching. Would that I had the power to stop such madmen! The news is upsetting in more ways than one, and I lay down my pen. I can't believe he'd take his bigotry so far. Couldn't somebody convince him that he's being foolish? My old pupil's response is loaded with bitterness. You try, teacher. See if he'll listen to you. He's referring, ironically, to the events surrounding my move to Catamarca. The tyrant would never listen to my opinions on the matter, though he does seem to trust me in the execution of his orders regarding the mint.
My followers are being jerks.
Well, that's what you hired them for, right?
I'm sorry. Interrupting your reading.
Well, I just came to a divider, so.
Urgh. I'm trying to lock them up so they won't get in my way. It's not going well.
Oh. Why don't you go someplace where they can't follow you? Shut a door.
They can open doors. I'm trying to lock them. It's in a room.
Help! Lock up my followers!
I'm going to try to lock Malaysia in this closet. Urgh, this guy! He steps through the door every time I try to lock him in someplace. And now it requires more power than I currently have, even though it only used 11 the first time. He's gonna come through. Yeah, I knew it. That jerk. Alright, I'm just gonna try to do it with him following me, but we'll see how this goes.
Would Alaric get in your way?
What do you mean, would Alaric get in my way?
Well, you
like
could
if I had him as a follower?
Let you out of Alaric's apartment, and could lock and let you out of Alaric's apartment.
I don't understand.
So you can get so it's not basically right in the same place as you are.
You're still gonna be in my way as I'm carrying crates over to Alaric's. So, Vigo, whoever's watching this that isn't familiar with the game, in order to replicate something, it has to be stuck to the ground, and there are a few things that can't be replicated even if they're stuck to the ground. But in order to stick something to the ground, the easiest way to do it is to put it in a crate and then bash open the crate. So that's what I'm doing here for the replication spell. You can go back to reading your Chronicle if you want. Wake up your iPad.
It's been a week since my old pupil arrived. Cythera is a great help in planning anti-mage measures. He hopes to assuage the tyrant's hatred of the mages, and perhaps influence him to repeal the worst of the anti-mage laws. The remainder of the planning must take place on site, so that the mint can be built in harmony with its surroundings. I pack my bag and head out the door. Cythera will keep house while I'm gone. I walk the rutted pathway to Academia. I haven't been back to Academia in years, and wonder how I'll be received. Perhaps the people have forgotten about their notorious architect. Ha! As if that would happen, especially with the new rules regarding mages. I'm sure some people are hoping to get away with lynching me if they can find me. About half of the way to Academia, I sight a camp beside the road, and since it's late, I approach to see if I can join them for the night. A young man casts paralysis on me and runs to tell the others. Soon, several mages emerge from the tents and examine my things. They whisper among themselves for a bit, and one of them dumps a potion down my throat. I'm glad to be able to move again, and don't mind that they are plying me with questions. Soon, however, an older one quiets the others and turns to me. "What is your name?" "Philinius, the architect," I reply in an even tone. His eyebrows twitch, but he remains inscrutable. "What is your quest?" "I am designing a mint, by order of the tyrant." A look of concern appears on his face, but he continues. "Did Cythera make it safely to your place?" I nod. "Yes, he did. He's keeping it up for me while I'm gone." "Good. I was worried for the boy, but now come in and partake of our repast." I follow willingly, and as one of them ladles out soup for us, we discuss the mint and the tyrant's new decree. They think them connected, but I dearly hope they are mistaken. Cythera will never find peace if we have aided in treachery. Another divider. Breakfast is roast haunch. I can't say that I particularly care for the cook's abilities in the roasting department. I suspect that the young guys cast a couple fireballs on the meat and neglected to season it. I leave camp with their well wishes and journey on toward Academia. The road improves soon, and I make it to Academia in the early afternoon. Not wanting to be discovered without an armed escort, I rest on a small knoll to the northeast of the city and wait. While waiting, I work on a personal project, which I doubt will ever find fulfillment. A majestic school for the propagation of all branches of learning. I envision myself as a fondly recalled professor in later years, after I have died and others carry on my vision. I realize that evening has come, and I hurry to the tyrant's palace. "Who goes there?" A guard greets me crossly from behind a portcullis. "Philinius, the architect. I come at the tyrant's behest." The guard walks off without a word, and I wait. A few minutes later, a courtier approaches. "Welcome, Philinius. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting." He sounds sincere, but I know him as the man behind my banishment. I duck through the opening portcullis and confront him, saying, "Come, my friend, this is no time for false pretense. Let us detest each other with a brotherly hatred and live in a civil state of war with one another."
I think
He
I like this
accepts my
guy.
proposal, for he slaps me across the face and leads me into the tyrant's audience chamber. The tyrant would be an impressive man, but his gaunt complexion tells against him. I humbly bow so that he can't see me hiding my mirth. An easel appears at my left shoulder. "Show me your plans for the mint." I hasten to comply, spreading out my blueprints to exhibit. He does well at hiding his feelings, but seems pleased with my progress. He motions, and I am ushered out into a small room at the back. The lock clicks, and I am left alone for the night. It is early morning when a servant wakens me and leads me out to the location for the mint. It is a good, solid piece of ground by the looks of it, and I pull out a spoon to prod it with. The servant glances at the sky impatiently, but waits for me to finish. In a few minutes we return to the palace, and I am again locked in my room. I am beginning to wonder if the mint wasn't just an excuse to get me out of the way. Not that I'm dangerous or anything, but the tyrant is shrewd and may know something which I do not. For the rest of the day, I work on perfecting the blueprints, and am thankful for the work environment that a locked room gives me. I continue working on the blueprints through the night, and as dawn breaks, the tyrant sends for them. He examines the blueprints closely and questions me in depth. I answer to the best of my ability, and as I roll them up preparatory to returning to my room, the tyrant asks me, "So, this is magic-proof as far as a raid goes?" I nod. "Yes, oh great one." "What if it's an inside job? How will it fare then?" I point out the safety features, and he is contented that it will suffice. A servant leads me back to my room, but as I drift off to sleep, my mind casts a suspicious eye on the tyrant, and I know that I cannot trust him. Year 152. Going into exile. The mint has been proceeding apace, and I have been able to insert some slight modifications to the plans, which will make it safer from attack, but will also aid a trapped mage to escape, albeit with nothing more than his life. Yes, though not a mage myself, I have a few tricks up my sleeve that allow me to make runes and such, a useful trick indeed in these dangerous times. Last night, a rogue mage tried to sabotage the mint, but the blueprints were planned with that possibility in mind, and he was unable to effect it. The tyrant has invited me to join him at dinner tonight. One of the builders comes up to me. "Sir, we found something odd, and want you to advise us on it." I walk over to the building and step inside. A blue discus is lying on the ground near one wall, and I lift it carefully. A row of fine runes encircles the median portion, and I try to examine them, but they are too fine to read easily. "When did you find this?" "Just now, sir. We were just about to start building the pillar, when there was a puff of smoke, and there it was. It's not a dangerous magical artifact, is it?" I shake my head. "I don't think so, but I'm going to examine it in the shop." I carry it to the shop and examine it under a magnifying glass. It appears to be a message. "Dear sir, you are a fool or an idiot. We can finish this alone now. Yours deviously, Tyrant." I hear a tramping of feet outside and instinctively crouch below the work table. A guard passes through the doorway. "Philinius, you are under arrest by order of the tyrant for abetting rogue mages." I am not clever at escape. I give myself up, hoping for a fair trial.
That's not gonna go well.
The day is ending. 7th or 700th, I know not. My glorious mint, nothing but a dirty prison for mages. Cythera was one of the first to be captured, and by the look on his face, hour after hour, he is losing his mind to a lust for revenge against the evil tyrant. I hope we can escape soon. The builders eliminated some of my modifications, and it's taken me some time to restore them. But the moon will show through the one small window tonight, and then, if we act quickly, we can escape. The moon is starting to show through the small window, causing my runes to glow faintly. I draw the mage's attention to them, and they eagerly try to decode their meaning. A few minutes remain before we can act, so I let them play. Cythera seems to recognize some of the runes and turns to wink at me. I nod and leave the activation to him. A few minutes pass, and he speaks a word while motioning toward the wall with his hand. Obscured moonbeams brighten the floor by the wall, and Cythera walks boldly through the wall and out. His show of bravery heartens the other mages, and they quickly follow. I leave last, and rotate a key room to the false wall. Satisfied that nobody will be imprisoned there again, I hurry to rejoin the mages. We turn our gaze westward and set forth. As we climb the foothills of the mountains near evening, a cloud of dust arises across the plain toward Academia, and we redouble our pace, fearing the tyrant's army. We reach a cliff wall and search frantically for the gap that leads into the heart of Cythera. I sit with the elderly mages, anxiously awaiting news of the gap. Finally, a scout returns, bearing news that the gap is a furlong to the south. We start to move that way as one of the youth who had stayed with us runs north to retrieve the other scouts. The body of the band is about 30 paces away from the gap, and the stragglers are not far behind, but the tyrant's men are fast on their steeds and sweep in before us. The scouts who were waiting for us at the gap motion toward the army, and their steeds scream in terror and bolt. Our enemy is in a forced retreat. But what is this? Many of their best fighters, not to mention some of the less experienced warriors, leap down and turn to face us. Slingstones and arrows are exchanging, not to mention lightning from several of the mages. The arrows of the tyrant's army are well crafted, but the mage's lightning is beautiful. Cythera is leaning over me, pouring some uncouth liquid down my throat. I splutter and sit up. I'll never get used to those potions. Thanks, though. He laughs grimly and replies, I'm glad that you were among those whom the potions could be of service to. Then he continues to himself, I wish I had the power to bring back my friends, or even better, the power to make it so that the tyrant never made this decree. I nod sadly and rise to help the few remaining wounded. That task is finished all too soon, and we move quietly through the night of another day. As we journey, Cythera tells me about the battle. I shudder within myself as he details the fey power of the mages as they were slaughtered and yet seemed to linger on the borderline of death just long enough to deliver another crushing spell to the enemy. He says that due to that, the elite troops were soon defeated, but a vast host of foot soldiers was seen approaching, which no mage could dream of repelling. So the able-bodied mages gathered the wounded and, passing through the gap, sealed it with a rock slide. We reach the far side of the mountains as dawn brightens the sky, and gaze enraptured across a fertile plain to the ocean. One of the few remaining elder mages approaches. We camp there tonight, he says, motioning across the plain to where a river enters the sea. It is a good place for our new home. Year 153. Nyx is founded. Glorious day of my life. The magisterium, the school which I have dreamed of building, has been built. It was started a month after we arrived, when I had put the site-specific touches on my plan, and the mages who had escaped before it was too late were gathered from their wandering to the north and south. It took more than a year, and that was with magical aid and construction techniques gleaned from the old Metic ruins at the headwaters of the river. I feel my smile broaden as Cythera approaches. He will be a professor at the magisterium, and so has a part to play in the ceremony tonight. It is good to see him doing so well here. Teacher, he greets me, as in old days, are you ready? Let us go join the dinner party by the riverside. I happily follow him, and as we sit and eat, we discuss many things. Our hopes and dreams, and what has brought us to this place. As we talk, a cloud invades my mind, a concern. But I push it away and soon forget. The ceremony lasts till the wee hours of the morning, with speeches and exhibitions and toasts. When the ceremony was ended, the party begins, and we laugh and dance and dream of a bright future. That's the end.
That's the end.
Yep.
I'm not nearly done replicating things. That's a problem. And I thought we found the perfect length Chronicle. Well, it's a very good Chronicle. So if you wanted to know more about the Mage's Exile and Cythera and the Tyrant, it's a Chronicle, but it's a really good one. I think I got really just stuck without. Oh man, I forgot to replenish my mana. Well, what should we do now?
I don't know.
Are we like out of time for this episode?
I don't remember when we started. Probably.
Probably out of time.
Pretty close anyway.
Man, it takes a long time to replicate stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I like to use Pandora's Box. With Pandora's Box, I would not have to keep asking Alaric to replenish my mana. I would not have to drag a crate over to Alaric so that I could ask him to replenish my mana.
Why do you have to have the crate there to replenish your mana?
I need to be next to Alaric so that I can ask him to replenish my mana.
Why do you have to take a crate with you?
So that I can replicate stuff?
Why don't you come back and replicate it at where the crate is?
So then I'd have to go back and forth.
That's what you're doing.
Not as much.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I'm putting several things into the crate and replicating them several times.
Okay.
I think my way's faster, but I don't guess I've ever tried your way. It would be really frustrating every time I fail to cast the spell and I've got to go back and forth another time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on replicating obsidian so that I can sharpen swords, diamonds so I can be rich, and magic arrows for fun. I need a bow.
If I was a wealthy man. If I was a wealthy man.
No, I would just listen to you sing this whole episode. Do you have more stuff to sing?
Yeah,
Alex, my way.
I don't know very many songs in completion. Just a lot in like a couple lines. Or half a line.
What should I do?
I don't know.
Should I stop or should I keep replicating until I'm done replicating?
Yeah, we should probably go and end that episode. They've probably seen me replicate enough.
So I should just finish replicating off camera.
Screen.
Yeah. Oh no, did I not replicate that diamond? That might be bad. Alright, well, next time hopefully I'll be all loaded up. And
Loaded.
see you then.